Brown's Journal.
I know Tony Brown's Journal. I definitely know Tony Brown's Journal.
All right. So basically, after the rebellion and the riots in the late 60s, there was a decision that was made on the part of the media establishment in America to showcase Black voices in media. Not only through television and through pop culture, but also through news. And one of the direct consequences of those rebellions was that in 1968, a television program called Black Journal was launched in Detroit, starring Tony Brown. What's fascinating, if you're interested, right, the Public Broadcasting Network has archived, and you can get it online. I think I have a link. I'll send it to you at some point. All of the episodes of Black Journal going back from 68 to like 75. It's amazing footage of Black political history and thought in live time watching these. As a matter of fact, there's a YouTube page called Afro Marxist who actually has some clips.
I follow that page.
She has some clips of Black Journal. There's one where they have a whole bunch of Black leaders talking about is the future of Black America doomed, and so on and so forth, right? And I grew up in New York in the era in which I did in the 70s, being a child of the 70s and 80s, watching Like It Is with Gil Noble, which was the New York City version of Black Journal or Tony Brown's Journal. So we had New York, we had Gil Noble, Like It Is, you had Tony Brown's Journal, you had America's Black Forum. So these Black affairs television shows, they generally had some kind of nationalist, Like It Is was kind of hardcore Black nationalist or kind of like cultural nationalist kind of politics. But the quality was very good. The hosts were very serious about their content, and they interrogated Black political issues with a certain level of sophistication, regardless of whether or not you agreed with their politics, where you really understood that discussing the affairs of Black people was a serious matter. It wasn't like funny business, right?
Mm-hmm.
So when I'm looking at Charlamagne the God as a guy old enough to remember the trajectory of Black news, going from the Black affairs shows of the 70s and 80s to the rise of BET, the rise of Tavis Smiley, the rise of Oprah Winfrey, right? I'm saying to myself, okay, what exactly has happened that the American media establishment has felt that at this stage in American history, we can deviate so far from the particular traditional standard of Black media interrogation of the ruling class that we held from the 70s, 80s, and 90s until maybe the earlier millennium, that now we are surrendering the interrogation of the ruling class in the name, quote unquote, of Black people to a millennial hip-hop media personality. So what I'm saying is that before we even get into the interrogation of, Charlamagne, the persona, Charlamagne, what, good, bad, or indifferent, right? Like, for me, the interrogation starts with, what has transpired in the way in which the media establishment, and I, being the kind of leftist that I am, I look at the media as part of the institutions in which the ruling class uses to shape social and political consensus in America, right? Mm-hmm. So the question becomes for me is that not so much how Charlamagne the God becomes the voice of Black America, right? Because it's easy to see how, because you can just trace the places that he's come from to see how he got here, right? But the question is, why? Why has the media establishment, the liberal media establishment, chosen Charlamagne the God, the millennial kind of hip-hop personality, to be the interlocutor with ruling class power for Black America? And what does that say?
To hear the rest of this show and more, you can find us at This Is Revolution Podcast, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, SoundCloud, Podbean, and wherever else you get your podcasts. This is Revolution. Oh, and don't forget to hit that subscribe button.